Our first guest tonight played linebacker at BYU and in the NFL and is a longtime football analyst on BYU TV and is co-host of After Further Review and BYU Sports Nation Game Day. Always a pleasure to welcome our friend David Nixon back to the Wise Guys. We taped this interview just a few minutes ago.
Nix, you know the season's close when you're at Little League football tryouts, right?
That's right, baby. Today's opening day. It's like Christmas for us football guys. My little guys are getting ready. Both of them are trying out, 11-year-old, 9-year-old up here in Corner Canyon. So as you guys know, I coach both teams. So listen, I'm excited. They're excited. I'm excited. Football is in the air.
Let's stay with the excitement. It's the night before BYU reports. It's also the night before we report for our 12th season of After Further Review. How you feeling about things?
I got goosebumps a little bit just thinking about it. Listen, I'm excited about this season. And I think a lot of this comes down to, looking back at last year, the BYU team had a chip on their shoulder. Nobody picked them to be even in the top half of the Big 12. This year, after what happens with Jake, people start counting BYU out again. And so I love this position that BYU is sitting in right now where they are kind of being counted out. People kind of written them off. And I love that they're kind of the underdog. And for me, that's the story of going into camp is, can this BYU team do what they did last year where they can channel that energy, channel that frustration where there's no respect, and can you go out there and prove the world wrong? And I think that's where the opportunity lies for this BYU team. I'm excited. You look about all the guys returning, all the guys that they added in the offseason. Man, it's an exciting time heading into this football season.
Yeah, we didn't think, Nix, that there was going to be the Kalani saying this year because they'd be favored in every game where he starts in the locker room with, they don't know, but they're about to find out, right? But we're going to hear some of that this year, and that'll be fun. Our show tomorrow night is the touchdown show. We always start with the touchdown show where we look at every single touchdown from last season. And, man, there were way more of them last season than when we did AFR the season before. So this should be a fun show tomorrow night. Is there a favorite touchdown of yours from the entire season this last year?
Listen, for me, I'm a defensive guy, so I got to stick with my guys on defense. And I could look back at the scoop and score against Kansas State. Like, how do you not love that play? And I remember that was the other cool thing is that was a home game, so we were in the stadium, and that was in our end zone. And to hear the crowd go electric, and then to follow it up later with the interception, not too long after from Tyler Batty, I mean, that place just erupted. I will for always remember that scoop and score and the way that happened right before halftime and gave BYU all the momentum, and they never gave it back.
I remember us three standing side by side at the Oklahoma State game, and we were all kind of solemn, like, what in the world? Like, a miracle's going to have to happen. And when he completed that ball, Darius, and he took it in the end zone, we just went nuts up on the set because we could not believe what we just saw. That has to be mine from last season.
I was watching I was watching them all because we review it before we do the show, and watching the clips tonight, and they go, "Oh, I forgot about that touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh, there was that one."
Yeah.
So tomorrow night we get to show them all and have a good time. It's a show that's guaranteed. When it's over, you feel good.
It feel good.
You had a bad day, watch the touchdown show. So
and we'll give a little teaser. A lot of familiar faces last year that were scoring touchdowns are back this year.
Yeah,
so that's exciting
that's
part
fun stuff
for this BYU football team.
Yep.
All right, one familiar face is not back, and that's Jake Retzlaff. So we have a true quarterback battle as camp starts. Treyson Bourguet, McCae Hillstead, and Bear Bachmeier. Blaine talked about it earlier. How do you see this playing out?
Well, listen, we talked about storylines. For me, this is kind of the storyline that everyone knows about, and I kind of put it at the back end of my storylines because for me, it's front and center. When you talk to players on the team, nobody's quite certain who's going to be the starter. And candidly, I kind of like that. I kind of like that the tone has been set on this team, that the quarterback battle is wide open. And it kind of puts everybody else a little bit on edge, I feel like. I feel like all the other positions, nobody feels safe because the most important position is a quarterback battle and a quarterback position, and that's up for grabs. So I like the edge that this provides this football team a little bit, knowing that you got to go out and compete. You got to go out and battle day in and day out because the big guys, the quarterbacks, are having to do that. But ultimately, I don't think the coaches know. I don't think the players know.
Right. It
seems like it truly is a wide open battle. And I know we hear that lip service year in and year out, right? This is the open battle. But I think this is the first year where truly it's anybody's ball game.
That's such a good point, Nix, because in the past, like last year, Yeah, we're going to have a battle for quarterback. And we're all going, it's Jake. Like, come on, stop it. It's Jake. This year, when A-Rod says, we're going to get these guys equal reps because I don't know which one of these three it's going to be, so I have to get them all reps against the number one defense. He's not lying this year. That's actually a true statement. So this will be fun to watch. BYU TV football analyst Dave Nixon's on the Wise Guys with us, presented by Brady Plus, Mountain America Credit Union, and Eddie. So one thing that hasn't been talked about is Bourguet and Hillstead have not only been in the system for a year, they've also been practicing against the number one defense in the Big 12 this whole past year. How is that going to help prepare those guys for this quarterback battle?
Yeah, listen, you want to face the best. And to your point, Blaine, you go back and look at BYU statistically, it was one of the best defenses, not only in the Big 12, but in the country. And you look at the returning production this BYU defense has, and these are guys that have been going against in spring ball and now all throughout the play-around practices, off-season, and they'll head into fall camp. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better look to give you in a stiffer competition than this BYU defense that these quarterbacks are going to have. And if you're a defensive player, listen, you're going to give him your best because you got to get the right guy ready. And the whole team, this whole team hinges on making the right pick for that quarterback position and ensuring that person that they ultimately pick is ready to go. And so if I'm a defensive player, I'm going out there and working actually extra hard because I want to make sure that they have all the tape, all the film, all the experience they need to look and make the best decision possible for the quarterback battle and position. So defensively, if I'm a D lineman, I'm rushing extra hard to try to get home and see how elusive this quarterback is or how can he handle the heat in the pocket. And if I'm a DB, I'm trying to lock down receivers to see, hey, he doesn't have a read. What's he going to do next? So defensively, I think you up your game even that much more, knowing that you need to have whichever quarterback it is have the most experience, and you want the head coach, offensive coordinator, Roderick, everyone making sure they're making the right call.
Next, if there's an area on the defense, which again finished number one in the Big 12 in so many categories, that can get better here in fall camp for the opener and beyond, what area would that be?
I mean, for me, it's the defensive line. I think when you graduate the production that you did between Batty, Nelson, and Mangelson, like how do you not take a step back? With that being said, you look at the transfer portal, what happened there, and with the young guys BYU's had in the system. I mean, I think this is a position they might actually upgrade at the end of the day, which is hard to say because when the season ended last year after Colorado, after the bowl game, I remember thinking, man, we have got a huge offseason ahead of us to try to find replacements for those guys. Because not only were they big production guys, but great leaders on the defense, right? And you look at Mangelson, I mean, the guy just brought his lunch pail to work every day. You never saw him complain or want the limelight. He was just out there to work. And they all brought a little something different to that defense. So for me, the defensive line is one that I'm eyeing, trying to figure out how Kirkland and Tanavasa, and then, of course, outside is really the big question mark. Which guys step up there? There's a lot of names when you look across the board, Logan Latui, Akana, Clegg, Baua. I mean, there's I probably butchered that, but there's a lot of guys who are in the mix that I'm interested to see who kind of emerges from that spot.
Yeah, Bodie Schoonover is my guy that has the same mentality that you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
He's that physical, bring your lunch pail kind of a guy. Pua. So it's Sione's son. And, man, they're very excited about him. He has a chance to be really, really good. He was just a youngin' last year. So a bunch of former Cougars are in the NFL, and they've started camp. And, in fact, the first game's this weekend, right?
Thursday.
Or this Thursday, which is crazy to even think about. Your brother-in-law, Taysom Hill, he started camp on the unable to physically perform list. So how soon could he be back after that knee injury from last year?
Yeah, I think that's a day-by-day type deal. I mean, I was actually texting with him just last night. He's rehabbing it, and they're going pretty hard trying to get it rehabbed. He wants to get back. But coming off, that was a pretty gruesome knee injury, and it set him back. So for him, I think it's just making sure the timing's right, not pushing it too hard. And the new coaching staff, Kellen Moore, everyone's pretty excited about him. So they're saying take your time as well. But, Taysom's a competitor. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back sooner than even he expected because he's not the type of guy who can just sit there on the sidelines and watch his fellow teammates go to work. He wants to be out there. So he says it's nice and hot down there in New Orleans, but they're getting the work in. So he's definitely chomping the bit, excited to get back out there.
Listen, he needs 57 more receiving yards to become the only player to have over 1,000 passing, rushing, and receiving yards in the Super Bowl era. That's going to get him into the Hall of Fame. That stat alone might get him into the Hall of Fame.
That's nuts to me.
Yeah,
so
unbelievable.
Yeah, we're hoping he bounces back quickly. BYU TV football analyst David Nixon on the Wise Guys, live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com. In our final minutes together, Nix, the 5 questions is presented by Strategy Square. Let Chantal give your business a boost on social media. Visit strategysquare.co. Your top 5 storylines heading into fall camp. They could be 5-1 or 1-5.
I'm going 5-1. I'm starting with the least one I'm excited about. I already kind of previewed this. It's the quarterback battle. We already know. It's a storyline. So I'm going to put it at 5 just to get it done.
Number 5 for quarterback battle. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, normally it'd be number 1, but it's so front and center. We're just going to put it at 5 and just be done with it,
Okay. Yeah.
For me, number 4 is going to my linebacker spot. Harrison Taggart departs in the offseason. Who becomes that signal caller there at the middle linebacker position? Obviously, Siale Serra is the front runner, but Miles Hall, you look at him, he played in 7 games last year. Who's going to emerge there? That middle linebacker, traditionally, that's the guy making the calls, right? And he's the one getting the defense set up. So it's an essential spot. I like Siale Serra. I mean, watching his game, he's pretty dominant at that position. But can somebody give him a run for his money? And that's where I think Miles Hall comes into play. We'll see. So number 4 for me is kind of middle linebacker spot specifically. Number 3 for me is the secondary. And I bring up the secondary because one of the top-ranked interception teams in the country have caused the turnovers. Jacob Robinson, I saw a report today that he's killing the training camp for the 49ers.
Yeah.
But who builds in for him? And you need a lockdown corner. You need a guy that can put your best dude on their best dude and go mano-a-mano and see who can come out on top. Obviously, Maury Bamba, Evan Johnson, Trey Alexander, those are names that come to mind. But for me, it's you find that lockdown corner, even that slot, the position where you cover up the slot, kind of a nickel, if you will. But got to find out who those secondary dudes are, right? Because you take out Mark Collins, you take out Jacob Robinson. Who are going to be those guys that step up? Of course, some experience coming back, like we stated, with those 3 guys. But who's going to become the guy there?
That's 3, right? So what's 2 now?
All right, number 2, I'm moving to the running back room. And this one's kind of one where it's like, well, scratching your head a little bit. For me, it is all about finding a 1,000-yard rusher. So when was BYU's last year to have a 1,000-yard rusher? Do you guys know?
I can't even remember.
Well, it had to be Algier, right?
Was it Tyler? Yeah.
Nice job, Dave. 2021. Tyler Algier, 1,600 yards. BYU hasn't had a 1,000-yard rusher since. I mean, that's 4 going on, 5 years? This is 2025, so 4 years.
Yeah.
BYU's got to find a way, especially when you talk about kind of more inexperienced quarterbacks and getting their first starts. You need somebody to take the load off the shoulders of that quarterback. And the easiest way to do that is in a dominant running game. And that's where I think LJ's got to step up. Moa Aoga, kind of who emerges. As we know, injuries at that position happen all the time. LJ's been injury prone a little bit. So which guy emerges there and becomes the dude? That's what I'm keeping an eye on. That for me is number 2 because once again, you take into account the quarterback situation. You got to have a strong running game in order to take that load off.
That's a good number 2.
That's a good one. Yeah, and LJ finally healthy for a whole year, so he looks good. And then I like the 1-2 punch of he and Sione Moa. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, what's number 1?
Well, we touched on it a little bit ago, and for me, it's all about the D line. And guys, going away from kind of the personnel. BYU is one of the worst in the country in sacks per game. So BYU averaged like a sack and a half per game. Ole Miss led the country at 4 sacks per game. And so BYU's got to find more production there. And I get it. BYU's, they create enough pressure to create some interceptions. Obviously, BYU went top in the country. But for me, it's getting home. Got to find a way to get some guys who are bona fide ballers to get in the backfield. And, yeah, quarterback hurries are great, but got to find a way to get home and get them on the ground because, as we know, 2nd and 17 is much more difficult than 2nd and 10, and it shrinks that playbook. You've now got to kind of go outside of what your plan was there. So for me, it's finding dudes to get home. And listen, you can have different rotations. You can have certain guys that are your 1st and down type rushers, and then you have your 3rd down guys who are going to get out to quarterback. So just find that right mix. Kelly Papinga, we look at what he's done with those guys at the ends. And of course, you see what Jay Hill's done as far as schematic wise goes, getting guys involved. I'm confident they'll have the right dudes ready. But I just want to see somebody step up in camp. I want to see somebody out there just tearing up this offensive line and kind of imposing their will and saying, hey, I'm that guy.
Can it be like the olden days, and can it be outside backers that are coming off the edge, like with you and Keel? And because I think that's the answer.
I think with Glasgow, 100% with Glasgow and Kelly, there's ways to get them involved in the rush game. No doubt. But you got to have, in order, once they see those outside backers creeping up, if you don't have dominant DNs that they've got to respect, then they'll just come out there and they'll double team the outside backers and try to single block the ends. Now, I will say this, having Keanu Tanavasa and Justin Kirkland, that helps. Those guys are going to demand some double teams. So it should free up those DNs to have a heyday.
Nice.
Those are 5 awesome storylines, Nick. We will see you tomorrow as we tape after further review and kick off our 12th season together, which is a thrill for all of us to hang out together in that fashion and then the season around the corner. Thanks for joining us tonight.
I love it. Football's finally here, fellas.
Have fun in practice tonight, brother.
Thank you, sir.